what would you tell them is the truth behind like the success, the accolades, just like the achievements, and just kind of being where you're at mentally, to get to this point that you are at now? And how would you suggest someone to approach each day as like that's trying to strive for greatness, as just like you have?
Take failure as a lesson, not as a punishment.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Jersey. Today I have a very special guest. Listen, before I was doing his accolades and everything, and I'm like, okay, like he really the one for real, like really the one. I want to introduce Johnny Brackins Jr. First of all, before we get into the interview, I always love to give people their flowers because one, I feel like there's a lot of sports that don't get the love they deserve, and I feel like track and field is on the top of that list. So I want to read your accolades. I know you know what you accomplished, but I want the people to know, like, this is who I'm interviewing. This is Johnny. So to start off, Johnny currently holds the school long jump record, holds the record for the 60-meter hurdles, USC all-time, running a 7.43. I can't even run that if I was just sprinting without hurdles. Won your first national title at the 2024 USA Indoor Championships. Placed third at Worlds this year, only behind Grant Holloway and Cameron Murray. Bowerman Watch List, named Big Ten Track Athlete of the Week 4 times. Big Ten record holder in the 60-meter hurdles, 4th fastest time in NCAA history. Like, if that doesn't scream him, I don't know what else screams him. So welcome, Johnny. Thank you for coming on to another episode.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. This is Johnny Brackins, a.k.a. Golden Boy, because that's what we chase. And I'm happy to be here. And thank you for that. Hearing all the accolades,
yeah, how does that make you feel? Like, just
hearing it, reminds me, because I'd be like, I know them, but
yes,
when you stack them up, I'm like, oh, wow. It there's more wins than losses. So it
sure.
softens the blow of some of the negative stuff that's happened. So I love that. So thank you.
You're him, Johnny. I'm not going. Listen, I ran track when I was younger, and not to the level that you're running track. Clearly, I've changed sports. But I mean, just like speaking on when I watch your races and I watch some of the stuff that USC Track and Field posts, I'm like unreal. And then you just walk off yeah, I just did that. And I just love that about you. I love your style. I love your swag. Your aura. Is top notch. So
thank you.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
So I want to start at the beginning of your college journey. You started your career at Baylor. What made you choose Baylor, and what were your expectations when you first got there?
So it's a funny story with how I got to Baylor. I actually was committed to USC, is the funny thing. So I was committed to USC. We all know COVID hit. So when COVID hit, basically, so there's there's a certain amount of scholarships they can give out. So because COVID hit, they had to give a lot of the seniors who lost their season back. So they brought back a guy who well-deserved, Ernie Sears. He was amazing, scored every year. So he deserved that scholarship. So because they didn't have a scholarship, I opened my options back up. And it was COVID, not a lot of people had money. So it was between Baylor or paying for my first year at USC. And I wasn't paying anything. I worked too hard to pay.
Yeah.
And also Baylor, they spoiled their athletes. They took care of us. It was great. It reminded me of home in a way because it was a suburban city, Waco, Texas. So I liked the staff. I liked what they had for us as athletes. Their facilities were nice. And overall, my first year there was a good experience. Me deciding to transfer was just me wanting more. That was all.
For sure.
And me just feeling like I was ready to elevate in certain ways that I felt like maybe I wouldn't have done there. But as far as just choosing Baylor, it fit at that moment.
At what point did you realize Baylor? You said it was about you wanted more for yourself and things like that. Just feel at what point in your freshman year did you realize it's time to elevate? Now I'm thinking about options, because I know that it could be hard. When you're out of school, you commit to school, you're committed to the process, you're committed to the coaches, and you're just something ain't right. And it doesn't have to be negative. It could just be situation or fit. So at what point in your freshman year did you realize maybe I should kind of venture out after the season's over?
To be honest, it was during indoor season. I was just kind of looking at everything, and I felt like I was doing well, but I felt like I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to. And also with track, from coach to coach, the training style is different, depending on what college you're at. And I felt like the training style, it could work for some people,
right,
but for me, it didn't work. It was a lot of repetition, really repetitive, not as technical as I wanted it to be. So looking at that, I just wasn't really satisfied with it. I feel like I would have been great there. If I stayed there, I still would have been great, but the team atmosphere was not what I wanted. I wanted a team atmosphere where they weren't impressed by me, like where they saw me and they're like, yeah, you're good, but you could be better. When I was there, like everybody was so impressed with me that I just felt like I would have settled for that. Like, oh, I'm a star here, so that's just gonna be that. But no, like let me go be the star in a program where the stakes are a lot higher, where there's there's a bunch of versions of me, so I can compete to the top. So I would say it was during indoor season, and going into outdoor, I jumped in the portal in like April, which is like around the beginning of outdoor season. And the funny thing was I was not planning to come back to USC. A lot of people
Really?
think that I went to Baylor just to, spare some time and then come to USC, but USC was just the first to reach out. I think they kind of realized that they wish they had got me. And my relationship wasn't broken with Coach Hayes and Coach Watts, but I think they just took the first opportunity they could. They were really persistent. Other schools were interested too, but USC, like they made sure they got me, and that's
sure.
That's where I am now.
I mean, they for sure saw like the potential. I mean, especially even if you weren't able to, if you didn't feel like you were getting the training that you desired, I could only imagine they're probably like, okay, like we could train him right and get him where he needs to be. So they definitely saw the potential in that.
Yeah.
Going from Baylor to USC, right? Like totally different, 2 different states, 2 different environments.
Totally
so,
different.
and I know you're from Missouri. So how was that transitioning? I know you like committed to USC originally, but how was it now being at USC? Did you have any like, transition periods where you're just like the culture shock of just being in LA and just like everything that comes with being in LA? Like, how was that for you as you transition into, coming to SC?
Yeah, I think it was definitely totally different because anybody who's been to Waco, Texas, like it's very
There's nothing.
yeah, there's nothing
There's
there.
nothing,
Like
nothing but the school.
yeah, it's the school, a couple
Nothing.
little food places, but usually
Yeah.
like when I was at Baylor, like to have fun, we would drive to Dallas, drive to Austin,
Right.
Texas, to go have fun. But LA was totally different because LA is LA, but also LA is very, very jam packed, very close together. So it was a culture shock for me initially. And it's like you kind of got to break out of that ideology that it's going to be like the movies when you come to LA and it's going to be like, oh, Hollywood, da da da.
No.
First time I went to Hollywood Boulevard, I said, what
What is
the
this?
hell?
What is this, honey?
Yes.
Like
I was like, this is not what I thought it was. But once reality set in, I really I grew a love for LA in certain ways. Like obviously I'm from the suburbs. I grew up in the South and the Midwest, back and forth. So it's like, it's totally different. But as far as the culture in LA, I love it. Like lots of expression, lots of acceptance. There's a lack of judgment. So I think LA was one of the best places for me to become who I am and be as confident as I am. And track wise, I think like it was the same way. Like the confidence in my regular life built confidence on the track because I'm going to come to the track and be me. And the competitive element, like at practice, it's like we had a track meet. Like it's literally like every practice is competitive. So that atmosphere on top of just LA and everything, like I feel like I adapted pretty well, and it ultimately set me up to be who I am today. And I don't regret transferring here at all.
Yeah.
So
Would you name, especially the first year that you were at USC, was there like a specific, can you take us to like a specific moment, a specific practice, or it didn't even have to be practice, but you're like, this is the place I need to be, like this is where I'm growing and I'm challenging, and it doesn't have to be like a happy moment. It could be like a, oh my gosh, like this is hard, challenging moment, but it showed like, okay, I made the right decision to come to SC. Can you talk us through maybe like one experience that you had that like you remember?
I would say 2 actually come to mind. So I would say the first one is probably literally my first day of practice. Everybody started like 2-3 weeks before me because I competed on a world team the summer prior, so I started a little late. But my first day of practice, it was like just 3 200s. That was the workout. And my pace, I believe it was like 24 seconds. And I go to start running and everybody's cheering. I'm not used to that. Because in high school, I basically trained by myself. At Baylor, everybody minded their business. But at SC, like the standard is when somebody's running, you cheer for them, you call their name, like you root them on.
Oh wow!
So while that's great, it hyped me up a little too much.
So what'd you run?
I went like 21, 22, my first rep. And when I tell you the rest of the workout, I was dead. And it's funny because my coach at the time, Coach Hayes, she's now head coach at UCLA. Congrats to her. But she was recording me because I was on the ground, like on the third rep, just on the ground dying.
Yeah.
I think my last one ended up being like 30 seconds. It was bad. So, but that atmosphere just let me know like, okay, this is what I want. I want to feel hyped up at practice. And the second one is probably, we do this thing called the 45-second test. See how far you can get in 45 seconds. All the 400 guys had went, sprinters had went, whatever. I had to do it. And there was no expectation for me because I just transferred. They didn't know what I could do.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I ran the furthest on the team.
Period.
And the amount of love, the amount of attention I got after that was like, it was crazy because like, I know I can run, but when I came in, they just saw me as a jumper and kind of a hurdler.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of let them know like, I can really like, I'm an all around athlete. And,
Right.
and since then they've seen me as that. They've acknowledged me as that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll say those 2 moments really like, let me know like, I'm on USC's team. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I love the culture.
I mean, you talked about like you know what you're capable of, right? I wanted you to take a step back and kind of go backwards a little bit. And I want to talk about like what drew you to track. I know you probably could have played a bunch of other sports. I mean, you're tall. Like I'm pretty sure people were like, why don't you play basketball
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
But was there a specific moment or event that made you fall in love with the sport of track?
Yeah, that was a journey. Because, okay, my dad, he did track all his life, high school, collegiate track and field. He went to University of Kansas, competed at the Olympic trials a couple times. My mom, she did track in high school as well, competed to a high level. And on top of that, they did other sports. So I come from an athletic family. Like all my siblings do track and other sports as well. But honestly, it sounds bad, but I'm just not a team sport person.
Which is valid. It's valid.
But also like, in a way, I feel like my parents kind of like killed that too because they had that whole vision like, oh, I'm gonna have an all-star football player, basketball player. My mom forced me to play football so many years and I hated it. Like, I hated football so much. Like, respect to them.
What position did you play?
Everything. I was quarterback at one point, receiver. I have the build for a receiver. So receiver, I was tight end. I was all that stuff. And I never enjoyed it. Like, I never enjoyed football. Now, I did play basketball, so my dad made me play at least 1 year. No, actually, I tried out in 8th grade. Didn't make the team. Crazy. And to this day, it's crazy to me. Freshman year, I tried out for the team. I made it. I think I made JV. And I loved playing games. Hated practice. But also, I feel like I went to a school where it was really political. Like, in my mind, I knew I was better than the other centers that were playing. But they weren't letting me play as much.
Oh, you was a center.
Oh, hello.
Oh, period.
Look, y'all listen. I was taking it to the basket. Let me tell you. But I enjoyed it, but I didn't see myself pursuing it like seriously, because the basketball players that play like the AAU league it's serious. I wasn't ready for that.
It's no joke.
Yeah,
it
so
is no joke.
I don't think I was gonna be built for that. But track. Did it through my childhood. I was always like the fast kid in elementary school. Anything with running, I was gonna be there. So I think it just played out for me. Like I did track. I think I started when I was 10. I was winning. I was doing well. But I will say I hit a little bump when I was about 12. That was when my growth spurt happened. Y'all say I'm tall, so like I was not a tall kid. Most people don't know that. Like I was not a tall kid. I was really average. But when my growth spurt hit, knees hurting, hips hurting, everything was hurting. I was getting whooped. That's when I lived in Texas too. And any track people know, them kids in Texas,
don't play.
I think they lie on their birth certificates because I swear they're too fast for their ages. So I'm just in Texas getting tore, like it's bad. And I was like, this is not for me. But once I got comfortable with my body and I was taller, whatever, it started to click in 8th grade. I had moved back to Missouri and long jump started to click, triple jump started to click, hurdle started to click, and it took off from there. So yeah.
So like Johnny at that age, what you said 12? 12? Did you ever did you envision like a lot of the accomplishments that you had? Did you at that age when you started to take track seriously and start to go through your growth spurt and like, okay, I'm gonna start taking track seriously, and obviously you have like a lineage of track, right? Did you envision that you would be as successful as you are right now, or have the potential to like have a successful pro career and have an amazing collegiate career? Like, did you think that was possible, or did you just run track because you enjoyed it, or because your mom and your dad did it and they put you in a bunch of sports? Like how did you envision the success that you've had thus far?
So I would say at a young age, not so much because it was really just doing it just to do it. But I would say probably sophomore year is when it really hit for me. Sophomore year in high school, because I had won like AAU nationals and stuff like that as a kid, but once I got to like, it was really my sophomore year, like I had one meet where I went crazy. Long jump and triple jump, I was on the national rankings. And it just hit me that day. I was like, you know what? Like, I could really do this. Like, I wanted to go to college for track. I always wanted to, but I never just like had like all the aspirations like, oh, I'm gonna be an Olympian. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Just because like it just seemed out of reach. Because I'm from Missouri. Like a lot of stars come out of Missouri. Like there's some historic track athletes from USC who from Missouri are Olympians that have, but like from a collective perspective, it's not a track state. It's not really not a sports state in general. So I wasn't surrounded by a bunch of athletes that like made me think I was gonna be like that. Like I was literally competing against people who lived across the country. I was not competing against people in Missouri because they weren't like, we weren't in the same position. So I would say my sophomore year when I jumped well and I realized like I was at the top of the rankings nationally, I was like, okay, now it's time to really lock in on this. And it really, really, really clicked junior year, but COVID hit. COVID messed it up. I would have had a historic.
COVID was.
Listen, I would have had a historic year my junior year. Like I was ready for it. Me and my dad were training hard because my dad was my coach in the jumps, and I was self-taught in the hurdles, and we were just making it work. But COVID definitely changed up some things. But ultimately, I would say I did not see this at first, but as I got better and got more just determined and passionate in the sport, it came. But it's just grew every year. Like even through college, like I had to get to college to know I was gonna be one of them ones. Like everybody's scared of those transitions. Like I was like, these are grown men. I don't know if I can hang with them. But my freshman year, I was still at the top of the rankings. Right. So each year my confidence has grown, and now I'm a senior, and it's like, I'm just here to handle business.
For sure, for sure. Well, I mean, you talk about just being able to have that confidence of like, even though you were uncertain with like what the transition would look like, you still had like a level of confidence with yourself because you had training and things like that. But at the same time, a lot of people that I talked to, I mean, just being an athlete or really anybody in general, to get to those moments, like you had to go through, like you said, like a low of like, your growth spurted, like, getting whooped for a period of time. I guess like in college, what was like that low period for you where, you're facing a lot of challenges where you're like, damn, like, I'm not sure if, not, you never like doubted yourself, but there's always that small little voice like, okay, I'm going through all these challenges. Like, is this for me? Like, can I actually do it? Do I have the potential to be as successful as these people are saying I should be, or the potential and all that? So like, what point in your college career did you have those challenges that you faced that ultimately built you to where you are now? But like at the time, you're like, girl, like, can you name it like a few moments like that you've had?
Let me tell you something. Track is one of the things where it happens all the time. Like I couldn't just point one out. Like, unlike other sports like basketball, football, whatever, soccer, you have so much time to get put behind, get back ahead, win, lose. Like track, it's like you ain't got but one race.
Yeah.
And it's like it happens all the time. Like I would say the first time, my freshman year, I was hurt a lot. Like I got injured a lot my freshman year. So I think that in itself, like it really messed with my mental. And going into nationals my freshman year, I was the top long jumper in the nation, and I didn't make the final. So that hit me hard, but I wouldn't say that killed my motivation because a week later we had world trials, and I made the team for the U20 team. So that was what it was. But I would say definitely every year at nationals has killed my motivation a little bit because I've always been like one of the top kids, one of the top athletes, and championships, for some reason, something always goes wrong because I am a dual event guy. I do multiple events at every championship, and they don't really set up the meet for us to be successful.
Yeah.
So just those moments where I feel like I couldn't execute it properly or something happened to trip me up and keep me from winning. But I would say one of the top moments, which I hate even talking about, was definitely last year, Olympic trials. In the prelim of long jump, I was the top jumper. And I had 2 days in between. And in the course of those 2 days, like I had a lot of people in my ear telling me like, oh, you got to win or you got to jump a certain mark to make sure you can qualify because there's an Olympic standard. Last year, no long jumpers had the standard. I was the closest, but nobody had the standard. So when you don't have the standard, usually they'll go to world rankings, like who has the most points. And the point scale, I can't even explain it. I don't even know how it works. But I'm a college kid, so we don't have that many points. So going into the final, like instead of focusing on myself, I was focusing on all those voices in my head.
Yeah.
So long story short, they take top 3 to the Olympics. I got 4th.
Oh my gosh.
And it's one of those things like, it does not hit you till it hits you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, I had one jump and I knew, like, I could have won the whole thing, but I scratched. Like, I was over the board by a little too much. And I gave so much effort that, like, on my last few jumps, I didn't have the energy. So once I knew I didn't make it, like, I didn't break down right away. Like, I just took it for what it was, said good job to everyone. But it wasn't until, like, I would probably say, like, 10, 15 minutes after the competition where it really hit me. And I was like, damn, like, I worked so hard for that. And I didn't get it. And that's when I started questioning it. And it's like, is this for me? But I have to realize, like, I made it there. Now, the average person doesn't make it there. And my support system, like, everybody believes in me. And I think that's what keeps me afloat. Even right now, like, this week has been hard for me. Like, I just went to the national championship. I was undefeated all year. All year I was undefeated, top runner. And a hiccup happened. I didn't win. And it hit me hard. Like, it made me want to be like, forget all this. But I have to realize, like, I still am the best. Nobody ran faster than me still. Somebody else won, but they didn't run faster than I've ran all season. And yeah, track is a mental sport. Every sport's mental, but like,
I feel like track, I would say, I don't know how y'all do it. Like, it's one race. Like, we have 40 minutes. We have 40 minutes to, you got
y'all
2
could
points
be down
by
by 20,
halftime.
y'all could come
and
back.
you can come back.
Yes.
Track, you have what, less than 8 seconds because you want to run under, and it's like, I couldn't, like, that pressure of just having to execute detail to detail and be able to be successful. I commend y'all for that because.
Yeah, it's that. And it's also like, not that other sports blame people, but it's like, when you have a team sport,
you can rely on other people.
You can rely on other people, or you can point a finger like, well, you got a turnover. So but in our sport, it's like, baby, it was you. You was the only one on that line. You was the only one running, like, except for a relay. But, that's a fraction of the sport. So it just hits hard because it's like, you have nobody to blame but you. And it just takes one little thing, because track is also so, like, close. Like, somebody could beat you by a quarter of a second. You could tie with somebody and they go to, like, the third, fourth, like, decimal. Like, it's so close of a sport. And track is also so undervalued already, where it's like, the losses, they hold weight. So, because people, to be honest, people who, real fans know, like, what's fast, what's slow, but people from the outside looking in that don't know as much, they just care about who crosses first.
Yeah.
They just care about who's memorable. And that's why I do what I do, like, accessory-wise and expression-wise, because it's like, you have to remember me. So it's so much that goes into the sport. But yeah, there's been too many moments that made me almost hang it up. But nobody around me lets me do that. So.
Period. I wanna kind of touch on that just a little bit. I mean, we don't have to talk about, like, the losses, but I do want to talk about what goes through your mind and how do you get yourself back? Because I think a lot of people want to know. I want to know personally, but I know a lot of people, because you're still very successful. Like, you've had hiccups, you had, points where you could have qualified, or you could have been third or been on the podium or whatever, but you're still always able to come back. Like you just said, you were undefeated all year, right? How does Johnny get back to excellence? How does Johnny get back to being successful and being confident? Because, I mean, a lot of people could have given up at any point in their career like you have. I mean, not like you have, but like at any point where you had your struggles, but you didn't, right? So what goes through your mind in those moments where you're by yourself or you're talking to family? Like, how do you mentally, like, what are the mental steps that you take to get yourself back to, like, being Johnny and, like, being successful and being confident and performing at the level that you're capable of performing at?
Yeah. My motto is just, time waits for no one. So it's like, you can be upset, but being upset does not help you at all. It doesn't get you out the situation. But I would say, like, my approach is really, like, give myself an allotted amount of time where I can be upset about it. Like, I'd be like, I might take a week. Or my old coach, she used to give me 3 days where she'd be like, you don't have to talk to me, nothing. But on that third day, you got to come and you got to talk to me. Yes. So it's just like, just setting a limit for yourself. Like, okay, I can be upset, I can cry about it, I can be mad, I can cuss with whoever out, whatever, for this amount of days. But on the 5th day, the 6th day, whatever you decide, lock back in and get back to it.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, like, yes, you might have lost that race, but there's another race coming. You can like, just because I didn't win, my name is not, like, pushed to the dust. Like, people still know who I am, and people are still looking for me. So, it's just about just resetting your mind, resetting your approach to things. Like, and some people feel like if you lose, especially in track, like, if you lose, like, you weren't ready or you weren't prepared. No, that's really not the case. You could have you could still be the fastest person there. Like, even me, nationals was last week. I still know I was the fastest hurdler there. But on that day, I didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Or in that race, I didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. That's how it works. So it's just about really like your mindset. And I will say it takes time. Like
For sure.
when you're younger, your first few years in college, it's real easy to be like, oh, this is just terrible. My coaches aren't working for me. Like everything's bad, but it's not that. It's just, it's a process. You're supposed to lose. If you don't lose, like if you win everything,
That's unrealistic.
it's unrealistic. And also it's just like, there's no character built. You settle, you get used to it, you get comfortable. Like I'm thankful for my losses because it sets me up to be hungrier than ever. So, I think it's just about how you control your mind, how you're in tune with your mind. But I will say mental health is a big thing in sports. And I'm not just gonna say track and field, everything. Like handle your mental before everything else. And that's why I think like when kids start talking about what it takes, like what should they look for when they're looking at schools or coaches, like whoever's gonna prioritize you as a person. Like I would feel like if I had coaches who did not prioritize my mind, my mental health and where I'm at, I would not be successful. So that's the first thing right there. Making sure you're good. Because if you're not good, you can't go out there and play good. You can't run fast. So, that's how I go about it.
No, I feel that. And I think, that kind of, you said you have coaches that take care of you and stuff like that. So, you got your first national title in the 2024 USA Indoor Championships. I know that must have been like a defining moment for you, just like all the hurdles that you've been through, all the challenges, the transitions that you had. Take us through that moment when you found out that you won, and how did that victory moment feel for you? Like, was it a relief? Was it like just talk us through that moment with us?
The funny thing about that is that's the one meet where I did not care about winning. Like,
wow,
literally,
and it'd be like that when you don't care
that's
and
my
it just
thing,
happens.
and that's my mindset after nationals. I'm like, I need to just stop caring because, quite literally, we went to that meet. And I had not long jumped that season yet because I had got hurt in January. I opened up late. So we just needed a meet for me to jump at. My goal was just to go and qualify for nationals. And that whole competition was bad. Like my jumps were bad. My series was like not good. I wasn't approaching it correctly. The last jump they told me, they're like, just run through the board and just, execute it. I was like, whatever, okay. I don't know what place I was in. I didn't care. I jumped. I knew it was good, but like, I wish there was that video of when I walked up to my coaches, because I walked up real just like whatever.
Yeah.
They start screaming and hollering. I'm like, what happened? And they're like, you just won. And then on top of that, what I jumped like 27 feet indoors, like not too many Americans have done that. But it didn't like hit me at first because I was just like in awe because I had no intention of that. Like,
wow.
There was no intention of me jumping that far, no intention of me winning the competition. Like,
that's crazy.
I knew it was prize money involved, all that, but I did not care. Like, it was just like, I'm just here to qualify and that's it. So that's always a funny story I tell people. People are always like, oh, you must have prepared and been,
like,
determined. I was like, no.
I wasn't even trying.
Like, actually, I was not. So it was great. And I love that I got that title. And it definitely like made me confident to know, like, I can really jump, and that's something that I need to really continue to perfect, and it it put my name on the world scale and the professional scale. But
it's amazing.
It was cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then
have you ever told that to anyone, or besides like your coaches and your teammates?
I think I've talked about it briefly in some interviews, but not in the detail that I just spoke on it.
I mean, people are gonna be like, "Dang, I wish I could just not like just go and be like, yeah, I'm just going to jump and then win."
But
like,
honestly, like crazy. I'm starting to realize that has to be like the key to it, because even this year,
just letting it go, just letting the results go. And
because this year I went to USA's and like I obviously wanted to do well, but I was like, I'm just here to just run, and it was cool. Like obviously, like I didn't win, but like I ran 4th all time NCAA, and I was running against professionals who have. Like, shoot, Grant Holloway, he's the Olympic champ. And I was right there with him. I was like, okay, this is great. So, but I was not putting any pressure on myself. Like, there was no pressure. I was like, whether I win or lose, like, I'm here.
For sure.
So, yeah.
I mean, like, you've been a part of some, like, remarkable accomplishments, like, so far. I think just in the fact that you're doing in, like, 2 events, too, I think is, like, insane. Like, you are performing at such a high level in 2 sporting events. And, I mean, we can touch about like the mental focus and all that like in a little bit, but I want to ask you like, what's the driving force behind success in both races? Like, is it just like you enjoy jumping and you're like obviously you enjoy both, but like you enjoy jumping and hurdles is like you want to, you're really competitive, or it's just like, what's your driving force to like winning so much and just being so elite in both events? Like, how do you find that and be so consistent with it?
Yeah, so like earlier, it changes every season. But I would say as a kid, like, and my track people who watch this know, like, as kids, they just throw us in everything. Like, you gonna do this, and that. But for me, it just stuck. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump and I'm a hurdle, or I'm gonna do both jumps and hurdle. Like in high school, I did triple jump, long jump, hurdle, did the relays, I did everything, all at an elite level. Like it wasn't just BS. Like I was putting out marks. So when I got to college at Baylor, I'm not gonna lie, they saw me as a jumper who also hurdles. They didn't see me as a jumper and hurdler.
Right.
And it wasn't until they really gave me the time and attention and genuine training that they saw I could do both. But by that time, I already knew I was leaving. So I was like, whatever.
It was too late.
Yeah, because I'm like, y'all should have known that when I said it.
Right.
But I would say SC has really crafted that for me because, like, they've seen my potential in both and they've maximized my potential in both. And the thing is, both events benefit the other. Like, long jump does some stuff for me in hurdles that, regular training doesn't, and vice versa. And I would say the drive to do well in both of them is just like, I want to be the best in everything I do. You can put me in whatever. They could tell me, like, right now, you got to run the mile. I would probably give every excuse not to run it, but once that gun pops, I'm going to make sure I do well. You know? So I just want to be the best in as much as I can. And also, like, field events in track and field are very, like, undervalued. And if I can get a lot of like publicity and a lot of attention from hurdling, I'm hoping that brings like the fans, let me say supporters, not fans. The supporters I get from that, they'll watch the field events as well. Cause people really see like field events as like just the behind the scenes. Like if you watch championships, they're only going to show the field events when somebody's winning, or there's like a separate stream for the field events. Like they don't set aside time to really show that. And I don't like that. So that's also why I've stuck with jumping. Cause I'm like, I'm going to master these hurdles, but I also want y'all to know, like, there's field events happening. And I will say, actually, one thing that really, like, motivated me to keep doing it was watching the elevation of women's basketball in the past 2 years. Like, the fact that it went from, like, people not giving a damn.
Dogging our sport.
Right.
Like,
so now, like,
make me a sandwich. Like, what?
Yes.
Like,
or even, like, I don't know how many years ago it was, but the fiasco with, like, the weight room at the NCAA championship.
Oh, my gosh. And I was there.
You were there? Okay.
Yes, I was in college at the time. That was crazy.
Yes. And, like, looking at that and then seeing how now, like, I see more about the women's basketball than men's basketball. And honestly, I'll say I love basketball, but like when I got to college, I didn't really care to go to the games, but I've been to more of y'all games.
Period.
I ain't been to none of the men's games. I'm not gonna lie. Don't cancel me. I ain't been to none of the men's games.
No, you're not gonna get canceled. We love that, Johnny. We love that.
So like, yeah, like it was, I love seeing that. And in seeing that, I'm like, okay, that gives me hope that like the undervalued things can really gain value.
For sure.
You just need the right people. You need the right support behind
investment, money, all that behind it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's how it goes with field events and track and field. So all those things like kind of motivate me to really stay determined in both events and to keep succeeding in both. So.
I know for basketball, like people talk like Kobe, like he had an alter ego or whatever. I know like I don't run track at a high level. I know for basketball, like our warm-ups is different from when we play in the game. Like, can you kind of like take us through like what's the difference between your warm-ups and how do you prepare mentally in your warm-ups compared to like as you step on that line? And follow-up question, do you feel like you have like alter ego? And if you do, like at what point does it click in? Does it click in as soon as you land? We know wherever you're running, or as soon as you walk into the arena? Like how do you manage that? So warm-up wise, like what's the difference and how do you mentally prepare for that? And then two, like do you have like an alter ego as you prepare to run a big race?
Yeah, warm-up wise, I would say like practice compared to meets, like practice is a lot more chill. I would say like it's just, get ready how you get ready. But I would say at meets, like I'm not gonna lie, track is such a show and tell sport. So it's really like who can warm up the best? Like who warm up Look T? Like who like
Dad, he doing them A skips kind of
nice.
nice.
I'm telling you, that's how it is. Like at meets, like you like side eyeing, like he doing that a little good. He about to win. So I'm not gonna lie, at meets it is like that. Or
that's
like when
really funny. Yeah.
No, I promise you, it's literally like a game. Like when we hurdling, it's who making the most noise, who like. It's very like,
oh wow,
it's funny, but that's just how it goes because like you're locking in. And as far as like alter egos for me. I feel like I have a few alter egos because, like, in real life, most people know, like, I'm real to myself. I don't have much to say most of the time. Like, I'm real quiet. But you put a camera in front of me, like, I turn into a political figure. I'll be like, you know, I'm real proper. But then also, like, when I get on the track, I feel like that's when it's a different person. Like, that's like, I don't even know who that is because I'll do things in front of a crowd that I would never do regularly. Like, I'll jump, hop, yell, wave, hype myself up. And that's not me. Like, I promise that's not me usually. But when I get in front of people, like, it's a part of the performance. Like, ultimately, like, we are performers. Like, we're performing for a crowd. So that's what I do. Like, I know when I ran at USA's, or no, actually no, Big Tens. I won, and I was like, you know, I was doing little emotes over the across the line. I was waving at the crowd, taking pictures with people, and like, when I'm calm and regular, my social anxiety would never.
Really?
But when I'm hyping, I'm like, I'm on that. I'm on that. Like, it's whatever. So that's what I would say. Like, when it's time to compete, I'm somebody else. I really am. But you do have to control it because there is such thing as getting too hype. And you just forget how to execute everything properly.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've had that happen too. So it's a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance for sure. I want to touch on that because I feel like you're like, I love your style. Like, just like the jewelry, the nails, like, it's just like the clips. Like, every time you about, I'm like, yes, Johnny about to run. Like, he about to beat all these boys, these men. Like, but I kind of want to touch on that because I feel like you mentioned that, like, that's a part of your brand. That's a part of your style. That's part of your swag. Like, you know, you've established yourself not only just as an elite athlete, but also someone that has like a aura to them. Like, that's aura, like literally. Like, and so I want to ask you, like, you know, your style, your jewelry, the way you carry yourself on and off the track, like where has that style come from? And like, when did you start to like really like feel comfortable and step into that?
Yeah, so where does it start? I would say, okay, in high school, I had a lot of piercings. Like, I had all types of piercings on my ears. And I remember I would always, like, I was one of them people who wear all the dangles, but it wasn't regular dangles. It was like,
the long
they
ones.
was long. And my dad used to be like, what the hell are you wearing that? Like, and it was just like, I just wanted to, or like at one point when I discovered that I like chains, I was layering my chains or whatever. So then when I got to college, I've just always been an expressive person. Like, and through college and people have met me, like, I'm the type of person, like, my friends be like, hey, we about to just go somewhere, be casual. I'm never casual.
You gonna dress up.
Yeah, like, I'm never casual. I accessorize. And after years of doing that, and now I know, like, gold is my thing. I don't wear silver as much, but, like, gold is my thing. And I really came to just know, like, what looks good on me. This year, I was just like, you know what? How can I maximize this? And how can I bring this to the track? Because it's like, I know how I am in my regular life, but why can't I, incorporate the two?
Exactly, yeah.
So it definitely like took like some confidence to do so, because it's like, also, if you don't come out there with all this gold on, all this jewelry on, you got to do well. You can't, because let me tell you, there's a lot of people growing up, they're the flashiest out there and they lose. So it's like, I had to make sure, but I had to
back it up.
You have to back it up, because people will be like, he got all that on and he ain't doing nothing. So, but once I did it and saw that people liked it, like, I just kept going with it. Now, it's people who don't like it too.
And ain't nobody care about what they say,
listen,
though.
They was hating on
everybody
me.
Everybody gonna hate, but
People be having so much to say, but when you just look at the positives, it outweighs the negatives. And honestly, the negative stuff be making me laugh anyway, because I'm like, y'all don't have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love having all my stuff on, gold down. Like, like I said, that's what we chase, is gold. And I think it's just like, it's made me so memorable now. Like, everybody remembers me at these meets for all my jewelry and all this stuff. Like, so.
That's your brand. I'm excited. I'm honestly excited to see how you like maximize that when you go pro. Like, I think that is gonna be so like, it's gonna be so cute, because I feel like just the jewelry and just some jewelry sponsor him. Like, what y'all doing?
Listen, we're working on it. Like, y'all reach out.
What is y'all doing?
Y'all see, like,
literally.
Oh my god. Yeah. Like
Cartier,
Cartier, Van Cleef, all that. Like,
now.
even the black-owned businesses. Come on, like,
sponsor your boy.
But honestly, I foresee that for myself. Like, I'm at a point now where, like, I'm really manifesting that, praying for it. Like, I do this stuff for a purpose. Like you have to do it to receive it.
Mhm.
So I'm sure.
And you have like a genuineness behind it. You're not just doing like this is something that you like love. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, like
it's gonna
everybody
come
knows,
naturally.
I've been covered in jewelry. Like I love jewelry. Like you can put on a simple outfit and the jewelry makes the outfit.
Mhm.
So yeah, any brands, like they can look at my page and know this is not just a facade for the track. This is me. So
For sure.
I could have 2 followers. I'm gonna still put on all this jewelry.
Period.
So yeah.
Period. So a lot of athletes, have a signature, move or like mindset, going into their competitions that they tap into like during warm-ups or whatever. Or even like right before competition. What do you say to yourself, like get into your blocks? And like, are there any trigger words or sayings that you have that like get you like in that zone right before you race?
Get active.
Mm.
This year it's
I
just
like
been get
that.
active. Like I'll be like, all right, come on, get active. Like, come on.
Mhm.
Like it be that, or it's that. But if I feel like I'm too hype, I'll just take a deep breath and like be like, all right. But most of the time I'd be like, get active, because like I'm very calm most of the time. Like even when they're walking us out there, like the boys will be running, screaming, doing all this stuff. I'll just be taking my time.
Mhm.
But once I get on the line, it's like, all right, activate. Come on, let's do it. Like let's do that one.
I love that.
And that's how I do it.
That should be like your what's your slogan or like
Yeah,
your
it probably will be.
get active. I
Mhm.
like that. Like
I
that.
do that, and then like, yeah, get active, and then if I'm like really anxious, I'll just be like, it's me and God against the world. Like
Mhm.
I always like, I try to ignore anybody else around me. I'm not competing against y'all. It's me against me. It's me and God against the world. Like we
So
let's
you
make
against
it.
that clock, really.
Yeah. So that's how I approach most of my races.
I love
So,
that. So when you look back at your career, from all the accomplishments that you've had thus far, from breaking records, being a national champion, how do you see yourself evolving in the future, and like what's next for Johnny? And like what are your what goals are you setting for yourself as you push forward into the future?
Yeah, so I think this year definitely let me know, like, obviously the season's still going, but what's happened already has let me know, like, I am an elite athlete and I really do have a future in this sport. It also let me know I have a lot to work on still, like the hiccups, the losses, like they let me know I still have a lot to fix. But ultimately, like, what's next for me is like, obviously after outdoor, I'm definitely gonna go pro. As far as with who, won't say that yet, but yeah, definitely go pro, compete on the world level, Olympic level. I'll probably continue to train in LA for a little while. And just really build for me. But outside of track, just build my brand. Like every day I think of new things I can do to elevate, whether that be, starting a business, investing, making connections. Like I really want to extend myself as much as I can. And as far as like my brand goes and like my name, I just really want people to know who I am on all platforms. Like,
Right.
I'm a hurdler, I'm a jumper, but I'm also like, I love fashion. Like I love fashion. I want to break into the modeling industry as well.
Period. I love that.
Every avenue I can touch,
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
want
try to touch. Just cause like I just like to. I'm one of those people. It's bad, but like somebody can tell me they're good at something, and then in my mind I'm like, hold on, let me try that too. Let me see if I can be good at that. Cause like I just want to be good at everything.
Yeah.
Like that's how I was raised. Like be the best at everything. So I think just make my name, put my name everywhere. That's what I want.
So like just to touch on that a little bit, what if Johnny, like people were to say like Johnny was X, Y, and Z, like your legacy, like what would you want your legacy to be?
Just to be unapologetically you
Mm.
in any room, any space, anywhere. Like a lot of people feel like how you express yourself, like you should alter it depending on where you're at. And I don't agree with that. I think like whatever you believe in, push that. Don't let anybody else's agenda change that. Like that's what I had to learn, because definitely, like I said, moving to LA was a good thing for me because I feel like I grew into myself. I used to put up a wall, like, okay, I'm gonna act this way because I don't know how people are gonna accept it. But no, like be you. In whatever way that is, be you. That's what I want my legacy to be. Like Johnny was him. Johnny expressed himself and, put himself out to the world genuinely. And he still was successful. Because I want anybody like me to be successful.
For sure.
So
For anyone that's like watching Johnny, right? Maybe has followed your journey or just tuning into like your success and what you've done this far, what would you tell them is the truth behind like the success, the accolades, just like the achievements, and just kind of being where you're at mentally, to get to this point that you are at now? And how would you suggest someone to approach each day as like that's trying to strive for greatness, as just like you have?
Take failure as a lesson, not as a punishment. That's what I would say. Don't see failure as don't see it as failure. Like, see it as a learning experience. Like, I think you have to fail to succeed. So that's like one of my biggest messages to anybody, because a lot of people, something negative happens and they let that just kill their motivation, but let it build your motivation. Use it as ammunition. But also just really like figure out what you're passionate in and just what you desire, and give your all in whatever that is. And like I keep saying, just be you. Like, I really feel like the key to success is being yourself. And a lot of people just get nervous about how people will judge it, but everybody's going to judge something. But it's really just about you building your crowd, your foundation. Because I used to be so scared of that. Like, I know me. Like, I know I have my flamboyant moments. I have my, I'm loud in ways that, like, not vocally, but just how I present myself. And that's okay. Like, because there's a crowd that loves it. So you just have to do the same thing. So yeah, just be you, be confident, learn from your mistakes, and elevate in every way possible.
I love that. I think you dropping so many gems in this conversation. I think people are just gonna I feel like I think a lot of people are gonna be able to hear what you're saying, because I think there are a lot of people that look up to you, and I'm gonna keep saying this, like, track does not get the respect it deserves. Like, y'all, like, when you talk about like elite athletes and performance, you guys are at the top of that list. Like, I mean, yes, respect to everybody, even as a basketball athlete, but I think, like, just like you touched on it, being able to execute in less than 8 seconds, or one chance, or one race, or one jump, like, like, I don't think people realize how much focus that takes. I don't even know if I got that type of focus, because I could shoot 100 shots, and if I make 80 out of 100, that's great, but it's, for you, it's one chance. So
you can train for a full year and mess up your race.
Like false start, like anything like that. So
listen, like, makes you rethink everything.
Oh my gosh. But I just want to commend you, Johnny, because I think, like, I love the fact that you're, once, willing to tell your story, but two, like, you have a lot to say, and I want you to, like, continue to use your voice, because I feel like, one, your accomplishments speak for itself, but I think you as a person speak for itself as well. And I think the more people get to know you, the more people are going to love you, the more they're going to support you, and then everything just falls in line. So you have the talent, you have, like, the eliteness and everything, and now it's just like being able to tell your story and everything like that. So with that being said, I want to transition into some fun, lighthearted questions. Okay. So, the first question, since you got such a distinct style with your jewelry and all that, do you ever have any superstitions about wearing a specific piece of jewelry or something you do before a big competition? Or is it all about confidence and, like, if you look good, you feel good type of thing?
Yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't have a superstition. Like, every ring has to go on the same finger. Certain bracelets got to go on the left hand versus the right hand. So yes, I do. Yeah, there's, like, what's funny is this Van Cleef necklace, because this is actually, like, some of the stuff I have on is what I go to meets in. And I competed with my Tiffany necklace on majority of the season, and I got this necklace as a gift. And I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if I should add it, because, like, I've been doing good with the other stuff, but I added it. I ran the 743. I was like, all right, I'm good.
I'm wearing this again.
So, but yeah, I will say, like, high key, I don't change too much, because I'm like, whatever I was successful in, let me stay with
it.
Yeah.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you during a race or a training session?
Oh my gosh, y'all. Nationals, my freshman year, indoors, I was jumping, and we wear tights, like shorts/tights. And
I just know this is gonna be bad.
Listen, I jumped, and I talked to my coach, whatever, cool. And then I go walk back to the bench, because, like, you have to wait to jump again. And I keep hearing my name, like, Johnny. I'm like, what the hell do y'all want? Like, what? And I sit down, and every time I sit down, like, I always just scan myself. And I scan myself, and I don't feel the leggings, I feel skin. Y'all, the back of my pants split on television, on camera.
No way.
Mooning the whole stadium.
So wait, so you got it from the pit and... Yep.
That's the other part.
wait.
Yes. My whole behind was out. And to add on top of that...
And no one said nothing?
No, they were trying to, but I was too locked in. I didn't know.
Oh my gosh.
On top of them doing that, like, they gave me a change of shorts, whatever, cool. Yeah. This is at Baylor, our media person because I was All-American that year. They posted the video where it split as I was jumping. I said, "Oh, okay." So that has to be
That's messed up.
That has to be one of my most embarrassing moments. It's funny though. Like to this day, I just laugh at it.
That's
But
like
yeah.
traumatizing. I know, like
definitely.
every time you jump, you like, okay, before I get
That's
up.
why I
let me
know.
just
That's
check.
why now if y'all look, I wear them shorts.
Yes,
them
yes, you
split-
wear them shirts. Yeah, yeah.
That started then. I said I'm not wearing them tights no more.
Oh my god.
Unless I'm hurdling, then I can rip when I'm hurdling. But jumping, nope.
No, that's crazy. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to
I was
you.
appalled. I said, "This is insane."
So you walked up.
Listen, walked around to my coach back and forth, just exposed. I said, "Oh my god." Listen, all I could do was laugh. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, like at that point, it's like it's just a funny, embarrassing moment. You
That's
can't even
it.
like be mad at for real.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're not training or competing, how do you like to unwind and relax?
I love to shop. I'll be shopping, but okay, you said wind and relax though.
I mean, if that's relaxing to you,
no, I love to
retail
shop,
therapy is a real
but I
thing.
gotta chill because I don't have no room for nothing else. But honestly, like I do love to just sit at home. Like my friends, they'll text me like, "Get out the house." Like, no, I like to sit at home. Me and my dogs.
Homebody.
We'll just we just chill. I
Mhm.
like to watch movies. Yeah, but also like when I have time away from my sport, I do like to watch my sport. So I am the type of person like if they give me time off, I still like to watch practice or, observe or help when needed. But yeah.
I feel that. What's a fun fact or hidden talent that most people don't know about you? I know you got some hidden talent.
Actually, yeah, I can do hair.
Really?
Yes, I can
Like
braid.
what you could braid cornrows?
Yeah, I can. Oh, I don't like doing curls, but I can. Y'all, the ponytails, the braids, the slick backs, this and that.
Period.
Like, if y'all check out Samara Moody, go to her page. I did a lot of her hairstyles.
Did you do the slick back the pony?
She had like, well,
She had like a pony, like a
the braid with
yeah,
like the curls at the end.
yeah.
That was me.
You did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that was me. That or like in her media day picture, she had a braid all the way down. I did that.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was talking about. Yeah, the braid. Yeah, that was nice.
So I do hair. I can cook. I speak French.
I heard you be chefing it up.
Oh yeah.
I heard you be chefing it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I cook. I speak French. I do a lot. Honestly, I just be doing everything. I like to style people. Yeah.
Period. I love that. And you can dress. Let's not the whole fashion thing. That's
clock it.
That one thing about Johnny, he know how to dress. He know how to put on
I love
a fit.
some clothes.
You know how to put on a fit. That's all I know.
Thank you.
Okay. If you could compete in any other sport for a day, what would it be and why?
You know what? Men's volleyball.
You would actually you would
No,
do
like
really
listen,
well.
if I didn't grow up in the Midwest, I think I'd be playing men's volleyball. Like
you have the height, you have the athletic,
the agility, all that. Like, I love volleyball. Like back home, we used to go on Friday nights. We would go and play sand volleyball. It was ghetto though. Like it was like 20 people on each team, but I was the star of it.
Really?
Yes, I love volleyball. Like
it's an exciting sport for real.
It is. That'd probably be the sport I would play. I would have said swimming, but like I did a swimming workout once. Y'all are insane. Swimmers, I don't know how y'all do it. My legs have never burned so much, and I've been running my whole life.
Swimming is probably the toughest conditioning workout I've ever done.
Has to be. Like,
it's insane.
It was crazy. I'll never forget. I had to do like 6 laps for my workout. I was dead, and the coach come over there talking about how his kids do like 60 to 70. I said, what the hell? Like, y'all are, listen.
It built different.
I respect swimmers. I really do. I really respect swimmers.
Okay, what's your go-to pre-competition snack or meal to fuel up before big race or jump?
I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'll be starving.
Oh, you don't eat? You've asked?
It's bad. Like my appetite just don't be there.
Because you're trying to run.
I just give me a Red Bull. I'll be ready to go.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
On an empty stomach?
Yeah.
Don't
do that.
Yeah, I don't
do
think that's.
Y'all don't do that. Because after the meet, I'll be feeling like I'm dying. But yeah, I don't have like a go-to because I really struggle to eat before meets. Like it's bad. Yeah, I really don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I did. I need one, but I don't.
Like even like a little applesauce or something. Like nothing crazy, but nothing. Ooh.
Maybe a little fruit snack.
That's it. That's the most you'll do. Little matzo welches that they always be.
Yeah, like my teammates be laughing at me like, because I'll get a whole plate of breakfast and just take a little bite. Yeah, I'm gonna do better.
Yeah, period. Well, it's worked up this far, so heck, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, I done PR'd off an empty stomach.
Right. Well, Johnny, that concludes your episode. Thank you. I had a lot of fun. This was really
Yeah,
fun for
thank you,
me.
thank you.
One, just learning more about you and your story, and two, just being able to, for people to know like who Johnny is and like just your accomplishments and how you've, been able to be so successful and just your journey. Like I know in a year or so, 2 years, 3 years, 2028 Olympics, like,
Hello.
Johnny's gonna be there.
For sure, for
And
sure.
I'm just excited to follow your journey and just I would say I'm a fan, honestly. I would say I'm a fan and
thank you.
supporter. But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on the episode. I think you're 11. So
Thank you, thank
yes,
you.
thank you
I'm
for
happy
coming.
to be here. It was a good time.
Yes. All right, you guys. That concludes episode 11. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and tune in for more episodes.